Alright, so as promised earlier on, we're talking about occupational disease, and here in the studio we'd like to say welcome, good morning to Dr. Azrul Zaman Abdullah, who's an occupational health services consultant from Anur Specialist Hospital. Now, doctor, you know, we spend 40, 50 years of our lives working, and of course with that comes, you know, experience, challenges, and of course a few setbacks. So, can you just share with us, you know, when it comes to work, our first job, for example, what should we know about occupational disease?
Well, hi.
Hi, good morning.
Well, occupational disease, usually it's safety first.
Yeah.
That's what you hear, safety first.
Exactly.
So what is occupational disease? Before we answer what is, probably we answer why first. Yeah. So why I am here is actually to advocate prevention of occupational diseases. Although I am a medical doctor, qualified since 16 years ago, but now I'm in the realm of occupational safety and health. So we are one of the partners called Occupational Health Doctors or Specialists. So our main role here is to do prevention of occupational disease, among other things. Yeah. So going back to the question, occupational disease are diseases which arise from the workplace, whether it's your own or another person's workplace, and usually it is latent, or it takes a long time for it to develop. For example, have you been working in a noisy environment?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it takes roughly, without any protection, about 10-15 years for you to get the disease.
What's the disease?
The disease is called occupational noise-induced hearing loss. It's a bit long, but people do not recognize it, realize it. Why? Because it's pepatah Melayu say, sedikit-sedikit.
So it accumulates over time.
Lama-lama jadi penyakit lah.
Lama-lama jadi penyakit. Instead of bukit. They changed it now. It makes a lot of point right there, especially, you know, with concerts, and if you work at a race circuit, you know, with high flying, you know, engine and all that.
That is the broader aspect of noise damage to the ear. So we are talking about workplace. So whenever you go to any workplace, whether you are working there or as a visitor, that is encompassed under the law. We have a law actually to cover these diseases, not just the safety aspect, the death and the injuries, but also the poisoning and the diseases. So probably that is my mission today.
I see. And now, what's the most common occupational disease apart from that? What long ear problem lah?
It's deafness. Basically, it's deafness. Okay. We go to the statistics. I brought some PowerPoints, but probably not shown. The major statistics that we can get for occupational diseases are from either SOCSO, Social Security Organization, or from DOSH. So I brought that. It's a long list. So I've trimmed down to the top 3. Only the top 3. So if you look into DOSH first, DOSH is the Department of Occupational Safety and Health. So we have to report any cases there, either safety or health, inclusive of occupational disease. So they are number 1 after investigation of 1,000 plus, close to 1,500 in year 2010. That was a statistics. We have the there. So there it goes. 467 cases. I can't see that far.
Induced hearing loss. Wow.
I see that word.
So it's induced hearing loss.
So noise in the workplace. Probably here is not so evident. In, like, say, a manufacturing environment.
Construction site.
Construction site. There are many noisy machines. Or the quarry. We've been to quarries. So you get hearing loss there. So you see 467. Later in the slides, there are statistics for SOCSO, but those who claim SOCSO in that same year is only a fraction of that. So some people query, why is SOCSO not covering that? The reason is they are what you call it, in the eye of the law, the diagnosis is so sensitive, meaning to say you can't even at the start of not hearing whisper, that is called a deafness. That's basic.
Okay, okay.
But for compensation purposes, SOCSO, you have to reach a certain level, exceed that level of severity, then only you get compensation.
What about those in the military or police organizations and things like that? I mean, I'm sure they're open to a lot of physical stress as well.
Yeah, shooting range and all. So still on noise. Our law doesn't encompass the military actually. And the military have their own law. But it is an occupational disease because they are using a lot of firearms and bombs and so on. So they are OSH in place in the army also. So sometimes we are invited, but in terms of jurisdiction, we cannot really enforce.
But you can consult them.
Yeah, we've been consulting.
What about skin disease and lung disease? I think those are also at the top of the list as well.
Yes, if you see the the statistics there, there's skin, there's also lungs. It's good that you mentioned lungs because we've been having a hard time looking into respiratory diseases which arise from the workplace. But as you know, there are other hazards which is more pertinent to cause lung diseases. So I'm not naming anything.
The box with the gory pictures on it.
So it's a tough time for us actually to put the weightage whether this is due to personal or is this due to work. Personal hazards or work risks. So it's difficult.
Now, Doctor, when you mentioned prevention, surely you've talked to companies and you've talked to the HR people as well. So what kind of prevention are they supposed to, go through, or what do they do, on a regular basis to ensure that they're, in top form of health?
The best. I'm talking about the best. If you are talking about the best, we label it as a management system. A management system. So we have what we call as the Occupational Health and Safety Management System, or SHAS, or MS 1722. That is the management system, whereby it encompasses the before, the during, and the after. In the medical terms, we call it primary intervention, secondary intervention, and tertiary intervention. Meaning to say, for example, primary intervention, we give education, information, training specific to, let's say, noise or stress in the workplace. Recently, we've done a few stress management in the workplaces program. So, our training programs are. We have a motto. The motto is seriously fun.
So
seriously fun. Meaning to say, we have all sorts of tests to measure whether you have depression, anxiety, or stress. But at the same time, it's fun.
So it's good that you don't just cover the physical aspects, you go into the mental, emotional side as well. Seriously fun.
Seriously.
Now, before we invite people to actually lodge reports with your department, maybe you can share with us, right, what's the common mistake that people usually make in regards to, they think they might have occupational disease, but which is actually not, or rather not covered under, or not included in the list of occupational safety.
That's a 2-day program, to answer that question. No. So probably just an overview. When we talk about diseases and illnesses, one is number one is the person himself.
All right.
Does he feel ill? Sometimes he doesn't feel ill. He has an illness. Sometimes he feels ill, but he doesn't have an illness.
True.
So we have to delineate that first. Whether does he really have an illness, whether he's having sickness or not is the second question. So our job, our role is to look for whether they are having potential to get that illness, the prevention part of it. So against 5 major category of hazards, they are chemicals. Namely chemicals that, actually now there are 70 million registered chemicals. So plus every second, if you see to the website for the registration, to the second is about 2-3 chemicals registered to the second. So there's a lot of chemicals. Number 2 is physical category, which lies your noise, but not just noise, but also your vibration, your lighting, pressure, and so on and so forth. And then psychosocial. Stress comes in, the smoking, the drug addictions, the sexual harassments and abuse at work, and so on and so forth. So, and then you have another major category, which is ergonomics. Have you heard of ergonomics?
How it helps.
The environment
the chair,
to suit,
the desk,
the environment to suit you. For example, this is just nice for me. Probably if
Good to know that.
for me.
now that you mentioned ergonomic, doctor, you know, we've covered the employee, the bosses, the checkups. What about the workplace? Safety of the workplace. That actually makes an integral part of the whole thing.
So there are many facets.
Looking at the lights now.
Everything hanging on top of us. Spotlights.
So what's your take on that?
Okay, so to the eye of the law, there are workplaces which are mandated to have a safety and health officer. These are those who, what the Malay call turun padang ones. But for example, in RTM, for example, there is no such law to mandate a safety and health officer. But of course, being like what you call proactive. Proactive, that's the key word. You must appoint somebody, or you set up a committee, a safety and health committee. To the eye of the law, actually, those are actually mandated. Is this organization 40 and above, the staff? Yes. So that is a must. So we have, or you have to have a safety and health committee, whereby this safety and health committee must identify the potential. Hanging lights and everything,
exactly.
the potential.
Hanging lights above our heads.
Okay, so some companies unfortunately are not, you know, keen enough on investing and putting, you know, a lot of thought into this. So what about initiatives that should be taken by the employees instead?
That's a very difficult question to answer, you know, because the what you call the core of it all is the commitment from top management. So how can we get that commitment? Information, understanding, awareness programs. So these are probably part and parcel of the programs whereby we want to create awareness among Malaysians, and not just Malaysians, foreigners. We have a lot of foreigners. SOCSO, do you contribute SOCSO? It's about 5.5 million SOCSO contributors currently active contributors, and I was part of the SOCSO board, doctor, while I was in government service last time, ages ago lah, Kuala Kangsar District Hospital. So there's one case I remember particularly, whereby he got 1.5 million
in damages.
Ringgit Malaysia. Would you want that, Steven?
Not when,
please.
not when you know you're no money can actually compensate. Thank you so much, doctor. So don't forget, bosses and employees, do your part in ensuring it's a really, really safe place, because you spend 30, 40, 50 years, some more, for some people in their working lives. So make the best out of it. Thank you so much for joining us.